Hi all and welcome back to the channel. So really excited to share this video with you today because I believe a simple warm-up is one of the lowest hanging fruits out there for golfers looking to improve their performance. So if you go into a bar on a Saturday afternoon after the weekend Stapleford, you're going to hear lots of golfers talking about how they played well once they just got into the round on the 4th or 5th hole. And to me, there's no reason for you to be waiting to the 4th or 5th hole to start playing some reasonable golf. Investing just a few minutes of your time can help you move better, feel better, hit the ball further, and potentially reduce your risk of injury right from the first tee shot. So I'm going to start by taking my club. I've just got a 60-degree wedge here, but the club you use is really irrelevant. I'm going to take it in my right hand, make a fist, so I'm gripping kind of midway down the shaft. I'm going to have my shoulder nice and relaxed, and I'm going to have my elbow bent. And from here, I'm just going to start with some wrist mobilizations. So I'm going to go from palm up, and then slowly rotate to palm down. So we'll work through a few of them, nice and controlled, palm up to palm down, getting the motion from the wrist. So I don't want to see this shoulder hiking up. So nice and relaxed through the shoulder, slowly rotating one way and then the other. I can adjust where I grip the golf club just for a slightly different sensation. But I'm working palm down, palm up, and just slowly mobilizing this wrist and forearm area. I'll go over onto my left side, do exactly the same thing. So elbow bent in towards the rib cage, shoulder down, and slowly rotating palm down into that palm up position. Nice and controlled here, really trying to access this wrist forearm area for the motion and not letting the shoulder get involved. We'll do one more, nice and controlled. And then we're going to come into some wrist mobilizations for flexion and extension. So I'm going to have the club out at around shoulder height, arms nice and straight, double overhand grip on the club, and I'm slowly going to bow both of my wrists as much as I can. So working both wrists into maximal flexion, and then I'm going to bring them up and work both wrists into that cupping position or maximal extension. Again, I'm going nice and slow and controlled here, really trying to feel like the wrists are driving the motion. So I don't want to see those shoulders hiking up. Holding at my end range, really just trying to warm those wrists up in flexion and in extension. Now in this fully flexed position here, you probably will get quite a nice stretch down the forearms. So quite a nice one to hold for a couple of seconds and then working back up. So again, slow and controlled, really getting the motion from the wrists. We'll do one more. So fully flexed or bowed, hold for a couple of seconds, get that nice stretch, and then working all the way up through your maximum range of motion, whatever that may be, and then relaxing there. Next, we're going to come into shoulders. So we're going to get into a kind of golf posture. So a little bit of softness in the knees, hinged over, and we're going to place hands either side of the golf club so that the palms face. And we're going to work through some pendulums. So slowly working across one way, slowly working across the other way. So as you can see here, I'm staying very quiet through my pelvis, fairly minimal movement through my trunk, and I'm just swinging the arms one way and then the other way to take those shoulders through some range of motion. So I'll start small and then I can gradually just start to increase the range. We're not really going for any speed at this point. We're just more taking those shoulders through a little bit of range of motion. Trying to go a little bit further with each one and just holding for a fraction of a second at our end range of motion each time. From there, we're going to stay in that hinged over golf position and we're going to work through some raises. So I'm in that position, same hand position on the club, palms facing. I'm going to keep my posture here and I'm going to slowly bring the arms up overhead, hold, and then back down. So we'll work through a few of these. Again, getting some mobility into our shoulders, getting a nice stretch through our lats here. Hold at the top. Really key as we do this one that you stay in your posture. So you don't want to be kind of raising up. So staying in that posture, nice and controlled all the way through your maximal range of motion, wherever that may be. Now, if you're slightly more advanced, you might be able to raise the arms up and then go into a reverse press at the top, bending the elbows, shaft of the golf club comes onto the shoulder blades and then pushing back off. So if you do feel like that more advanced version's for you, feel free to incorporate that little press at the top each time. We'll work through one more, whichever version you're going through. Nice and controlled, hold at the top and then back down. Next, we're going to work through our spine and we're going to start with some lateral flexion or side bend. So club is going to come directly over our head, fairly kind of wide stance here, and I'm going to keep a proud chest as I side bend as far as I can one way, hold, and then as far as I can the other way. So I'm just going to flow between these side bends, trying to work through my maximal range of motion. My hip will kick out a little bit in the opposite direction. That's absolutely fine. And as we're going, we're just trying to stay nice and proud through the chest. So we don't want to be side bending here and losing that angle. So nice, tall chest, working into that side bend. A really undervalued part of how our spine moves in the golf swing. From there, we're going to come into some spinal flexion or extension, so rounding and back bending. Club is going to start overhead and we're going to work into a standing back bend. So I'm trying to work the club behind me as much as I can, extending through that trunk and then all the way down, rounding through my spine, trying to get the club towards the floor. So we'll flow through a couple more of that. Back bend. Try to arch through that spine and then round in as much as we can. You can have a little bit of softness in the knees here. You probably also will get a bit of a hamstring stretch, but really trying to round through that spine. One more, up and over into that standing back bend, hold, and then all the way down, rounding, chest towards your thighs, getting that nice forward fold through the spine. Next, we're going to come into some standing rotation. So start to get some rotation into our trunk, but also a little bit into our hips as well. So neutral grip on the club, palms facing each other, into a kind of driver stance, so quite an athletic stance. Club is going to be parallel to the floor, and we're going to keep it parallel to the floor the whole time. We're going to start nice and small, nice and slow. Just rotating as far as we can to the right and then as far as we can to the left. So the trunk is driving this range of motion. So if you had a laser pointing out to the center of your trunk, that's what we're trying to get to turn one way and then turn the other way. So the trunk is driving this range of motion. We're trying to go a little bit further each time. And then once we've done a few like that, we're then going to start to incorporate the hips and just starting to pivot on the feet. So the trunk is moving, but we're also getting a little bit of lower body involvement now. So the hips are rotating, we're pivoting on the feet. Probably going to see that you start to go through a lot more range of motion. And then once you've done a few of them, you can just start to pick up the pace a little bit, but remaining nice and stable. So you're working through that full range of motion with a little bit more pace, but making sure you stay nice and stable and balanced as you do so. We'll do one more. And then we'll relax out of that. We're going to come into a few warm-up moves now focused around our lower body. We're going to start with some leg swings, and all I'm going to do is use the club for a little bit of balance. So I'm going to start with some leg swings from my right leg, club pressed into the ground, grip into the ground, just for a little bit of stability on my left side, and I'm just going to work through some leg swings. So just swinging this leg up. As I'm doing this, I'm trying not to lean back too much through my trunk, so nice and tall, just swinging this right leg, working into a couple of different positions. I can turn my toe in, have my toe turned out a little bit more, and just getting a nice gentle stretch through that hamstring and opening up that hip. We'll do the same through the left, so clubbing the right hand, grip into the ground, and just working through some leg swings, slightly different foot positions through your maximal range of motion, whatever that may be, and just starting to open up through this left hip, left hamstring. Next, we're going to come into some side leg swings. So I'll start on my right, again, golf club in my left hand, grip into the floor, just outside my left foot, and I'm going to swing this right foot in front and then out to the side as much as I can. As I'm doing this, I want to make sure this standing leg is nice and stable. So I don't want to be hopping all over the place here. So I want nice, stable grounding leg as I create as much range of motion with this swinging leg. And then we'll swap sides. So club in the right hand, just outside the right foot, and then we're working the left foot across and out to the side as much as we can while staying nice and stable on this planted leg. Do a couple more. Excellent. Next, we're going to come into some hip hurdles. So again, we're going to use the club for some support. So I'll start on my right leg, grip into the ground just outside my left foot in my left hand. I'm going to imagine a hurdle here, and I'm going to bring my right knee up, keeping this 90-degree angle between ankle, knee and hip, and I'm going to work up and over the hurdle one way, and then up and over the hurdle the other way. So taking this right hip through some range of motion. As I do this, I'm going to try not to compensate or lean out too much through this other side. So you've obviously got the club here for a little bit of balance, so we can use that to stay nice and stable through this non-moving side and taking this right hip through some range of motion. Now we're going to swap sides, we're going to go on to the left. So nice and grounded through this right side, club pressed into the ground, left knee comes up and over the hip one way, up and over the hip the other way. So we're working over here, up and over, trying not to kick out too much through this other side, taking this left hip through some range of motion. Do one more, up and over, nice and controlled, and staying nice and stable on that grounded leg. Next, we're going to start to incorporate some full body movements. So we're going to start with a split stance squat with a bit of rotation. So I'm going to put my right foot in front, left foot is just a little bit behind, kind of on its tiptoes. So I'm trying not to press too much pressure down into this trail foot, really ground down into this front foot. So a little bit of knee softness, hinged over as if I was in golf posture, really squash something under this front foot. Club is going to go across the chest, I'm going to keep stable through this lead side and rotate as far as I can to the right, hold, and then back to the center. So we'll do a few more of these. So really ground down through this right foot and then rotate to the right, staying in your golf posture. So you don't want to come up and out of posture. Rotating to the right, staying in your golf posture, and you should really feel this right glute and right hip working hard here. So we're really loading and coiling in to the front hip, front glute. Back to the middle, we'll do a couple more. So big rotation, really get stable through this front foot. You should find that front hip, front glute working hard. You also might find that you're kind of fighting for a little bit of stability through the foot, and that's absolutely fine. And then we'll swap sides. So left foot in front, right foot just on its tiptoes, kind of unweight that back foot, squish something under that front foot, so a little bit of softness in the knee, hinged over through the hips, and then rotating as far as you can to the left, staying in that golf posture, hold at your end range for a second or two, and then back to the start. So we'll do a few more. Really trying to feel like we load into this left hip, left glute as we rotate to the left, staying as stable as we can through that foot complex. We'll do one more. So rotating as far as you can, nice and stable, really load into lead hip, lead glute. Next, we're gonna work through some squats. So comfortable squat position, wherever that may be for you, wherever feels good. We're gonna have the club into us, and then as we lower down, we're gonna push the club out just to act as a bit of counterbalance, help us keep nice and tall through the trunk, help us go down a little bit lower. So comfortable squat stance, and then just work through a few bodyweight squats, pushing the club out in front of you as you go. Really trying to open up through these hips, feel that kind of push through the ground that is so key in your golf swing. Now, if you are a little bit more advanced, you can work same motion, but with the club directly over your head. So a little bit more advanced here, and you're just working through your full squat range of motion, whatever that may be. Final one, we're gonna work into a little bit more of an explosive exercise, get us really ready for those first few swings. And we're gonna do a reverse lunge into a knee drive. So I'm gonna start with the feet together. Club is just here for a little bit of support. I'm gonna lower into a reverse lunge and then drive this back knee up as high as I can and pause at the top. So I'm loading and then driving and stopping. I'm trying to be nice and stable at the top. So I don't want to be all over the place. I want to load, explode, and then stabilize. So I'm really driving out of the ground here. I'm really working on some explosiveness and some stability, two really crucial things for our golf swing. We'll go onto the other side. Again, if you want to make this a little bit more advanced, perform the same motion, but with the club directly overhead. So load, explode, and then stabilize. So we're really looking for some power here, but then also some really good control. Do one more, and there we have it. A full body golf warm-up using just the club. So give that routine a go before the next time you play or practice, and let me know how you get on. Once you get comfortable with the moves, you can easily flow that sequence together in under 10 minutes, so it's a very worthwhile investment of your time. If you found this helpful, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and let me know any future topics you'd like to see videos on.